What is up, everybody? I have decided that I would do a video today for a special occasion. I have owned that thing for a year today, technically. Now, it was still sitting in Japan this time last year, but I've owned it for a year. So, in this episode of Super Beast, I am going to be going through this car with you, what to expect in a year's time, what I've done in a year's time, and what I'm going to do next. So let's take a moment and appreciate my 2004 WRX STi. Now, when I got this thing, it was completely stock, bone stock. With that comes really dried hoses. So within the year of owning this thing, I didn't do it right away, but I did order them fairly quickly. Is all the hoses I could replace right away, I ordered. So these ones weren't bad because you have coolant going through them. But everything that had air going through it, like the PCV system, all of these hoses were gross. So needless to say, I ordered a silicone hose kit that came with all the hoses possible. I ordered the silicone intake hose before the car even landed because I knew I'd be replacing this. And they actually sent the wrong one on me. This is for a newer STi, so I had to cut it to make it work, and it's somewhat working. With the hose kit came the radiator hoses, so I did pretty much all the hoses, and that is something I recommend. That is a must-do. Anything over and above the inspection and what it takes to get the car safetied, get the hoses replaced. With that being said, that kind of segues into the next thing, and that's the PCV system. The PCV systems in these cars hold a lot of moisture and get really gross. So my PCV system was disgusting. You could actually smell oil burning. So if you're going to import one of these, even if you own one of these and not import it, take a look at these lines inside. There's a video on my channel. Check it out. I'll try to link it in the description so you can check it out right away. But this is full of gunk, and you don't want that to be pressurized because this is your crankcase pressure reliever, right? So make sure that this is all nice. As soon as it lands, I would recommend that. From there, the PCV obviously connects to this hose. I might as well tell you, I got a new hose. This is a turbo inlet hose. I imported this car with 140,000 clicks. This hose gets petrified and the oil morphs it at the turbo end. It's just not a good recipe, especially if you want to take this car on any kind of road trips, which is what we want to do. We want to take this car all over the place. So the first thing that you kind of want to replace besides all the hoses is the induction hose, because if this goes, your math is going to read air if it's leaking from somewhere that's not calculated in there. So you're not going to run optimal AFRs if this is busted, and it could leave you stranded possibly in severe cases. Now, what connects this and this is the PCV. Well, this hose technically goes into the induction hose, but instead I have a catch can. This is important on Subarus. Pretty much all turboed vehicles, all vehicles in my opinion. This captures all of the heavier, any heavier things than oil. So what you want is pure air going into this induction hose. So when the oil mist comes in here, the oil is filtered through a filter in here, which goes down to the bottom, and then the air is filtered through this outlet hose. So only air should be going back in, which is this one. This is the outlet here. And then this is the inlet. So over the course of the year with this thing, I did little stuff like, put tape on the intercooler that's probably not even doing anything. I added the catch can. I did all the hoses. I got a aftermarket air filter. I got the induction hose. And to me, this is like the bare minimum. So over the course of the year, I did the bare minimum on this car to keep it running, to keep it driving, to keep it reliable. And now I can start doing modifications to it. With that being said, I did get it tuned as well to run our fuel here in North America. And that pretty much concludes anything performance on this car. Performance. It still has the factory exhaust, and it's basically factory with a tune. With that being said, make sure you do all the fluids. It doesn't have to be obviously before the inspection, because here in Alberta, your fluids don't really matter in the inspection. I mean, if they're like black when they're supposed to be, clear, it might, I'm not sure, but at some point you want to make sure that all your fluids are brand new. You want this car to last. This is an investment. And in my case, this is purely an investment because I purchased this thing for about 12,500 Canadian, and they are already double that. They're twice what I paid already in Japan to get the same car here with relatively the same mileage. So keep that in mind. You want to keep your investment in as much tip-top shape as possible and keep it maintained. On to the second thing that I did. So the second thing I did was the brakes on the front and the rear. This was needed for inspection because my brakes were a little wobbly when you stepped on them, and the rears were very, very corroded. The rotors were very corroded. So I did the brakes as soon as the car landed before my out of province inspection, and one of the Brembo studs did give me trouble and strip out the threads in the caliper. So be aware and be prepared. If you're gonna do the brakes on an STi with these Brembo brakes, be prepared to have the helicoil kit on hand. Now, I can't remember exactly which measurement it is. I have it in my drawer. So after I'm done showing you guys this, I'll show you what you need to be prepared for that. So I did have to replace one set of threads with the helicoil set. And I also put on Rally Armor mud flaps, which has done wonders already. I opted for the cheaper pair because I don't really like the look of the silicone ones. So these are the hard ones. And, they were 80 bucks. They're nothing special, but they sure have protected my car already in the winter we've had so far. So, all right, so I'm going to show everybody. It is always good to have a set of these on hand. This is the Subaru Brembo caliper helicoil metric kit. So it comes with some helicoils. I still have enough to do 2 full calipers. It comes with the drill bit, comes with the tap, and comes with the tool to insert the helicoil. So you always want to have this, especially if you're new to the STi world and you're going to get any car that has the aluminum Brembo calipers. 9 times out of 10. I've owned 2 of these cars already specifically, and the one before this was a disaster. All the holes pretty much needed this, and that's why you see this little space almost empty. So be prepared. If you're going to get a STi, JDM or not, have a set of these around. One thing I did forget to mention, it's also probable that your STi is going to come. You're going to love it. You're going to start it up, as I did, and you're going to start to smell burning oil. Now, that is the valve cover gaskets are going to leak right on the header and the up pipe right here. So, again, be prepared to spend a little bit of money on that. I think I bought both sides, and it was like 120 bucks for everything for both sides. So I got a buddy who owns a shop to replace it all, and it didn't end up being too bad. I think it was, 300 bucks for install. All right, going into the interior, nothing much has changed in here. Obviously, I did my my steering wheel in suede, and it turned out beautiful. I haven't even really got to drive this thing yet because of the weather. That cord down there is the aux cord for the in-dash. I did add a Defi boost gauge. I did do a short shifter, which that makes a huge difference. The shifting time is shortened immensely. It's like 60% of the stock throw. So I do highly recommend that. One thing that kind of ticked me off when I got my STi is this mat was missing. So I ended up getting, and I actually think, no, those ones are back there. So it was only this mat that was missing. So I had to buy a USDM set, and it was cheap on Kijiji. It was like 60 bucks for all four. So I used this, and it pretty much fits. It just kind of looks weird because it has that one part up there sticking up, but it fits the tunnel, and it fits the skirt over there really well. So it turned out okay. I also got my, Japanese toll lady who used to talk to me all the time. I unhooked it. I'm still rocking the JDM dash. It's not that bad. I will replace this in the future. And what else? Oh, I got my JDM wide angle mirror. And I also replaced this with a Spec C hazard button. These are now discontinued. I got it, I think, before my car landed, and you can no longer buy them anymore. So I'm happy I got that. That's pretty cool. I'm really hoping you guys can hear me over my furnace, but pretty much all JDM STIs are gonna have rust under this spoiler. Now mine, when I was shopping for this car, there was like 3 or 4 STIs I was gonna buy, and 3 out of the 4 actually had rust color dripping down from right here. Some of them had it on both sides, actually. When I got my car, it didn't, so I was pretty happy. I didn't take this off for probably 6 months in ownership, but I decided, hey, what the hell, I'll take it off. There's actually a video on my channel, which I'll try to link in the description, where I take this off and you can actually see the surface rust everywhere. So I had to grind away all the surface rust, repaint it the World Rally Blue, and clear it. I'm thankful to say that mine wasn't that bad, and I think I caught it before it got bad, but that's another thing to be aware of is when you're buying an STI. I haven't seen North American ones suffer as much as Japanese, so I don't know if it's because of the salt water that's there, or if they get wetter more often there, which definitely could be the case. But just be aware, if you're ordering a JDM STI, always check under the spoiler. All right, last item on the what did I do to this thing in the year. I replaced the coilovers. So when I first got this car, it had factory suspension, and it was leaning back in the rear a lot, like it was sagging. And that's kind of a commonality with the Subarus. So in an inspection, I didn't want that to get flagged or failed, because getting a set of these and installing them could take up longer than 2 weeks. So I didn't want to chance that at all. So I actually ended up ordering these before inspection, putting them in, and so far they've been really good. They're just a little stiff. They're a little stiffer than I'd like, but whatever. It's not a comfort car. It's a rally car, so I don't care. These are Raceland Coilovers. I think they set me back roughly $700 Canadian, which is a great price. I tried very hard to find OEM suspension for this thing. All I could find was used suspension with similar mileage with that my car has, and they were $1,100 to $1,300 for used struts. So I'd likely be in the situation that I was in, and I didn't want to chance that. So I got brand new coilovers out of the box, 700 bucks, can't go wrong. They passed an inspection, flying colors. All right, that takes us to what's next for this thing. Well, one thing is for sure, I do have some pieces still that I want to install, like this right here. I have the blow-off valve hose and the intercooler hose. If you notice, mine is blue right now because that's all I had sitting around. But I want to match the rest of the engine bay, so I'm going to be replacing, obviously, these two things. And when you do your induction hose, be prepared to replace the blow-off valve hose, because that's probably the worst one. It was literally rock hard, and I was really scared for that breaking when I was putting the induction hose in. With that being said, after that, I really want to do the 4-cylinder coolant mod. If you look online, I didn't really think it affected the JDMs much, but I was wrong. It actually affects all of the EJ series engines, especially if you're pushing decent amount of power and decent amount of boost. Even in stock form, I would recommend it. So I'm going to do the 4-cylinder coolant mod, and that just involves getting the proper fitting to screw into the head, and then you tee in a hose into your heater core hoses, I believe. With that, you know, I really want this car to remain the way it is. It's already extremely fun. It's extremely powerful. It's good on gas when you want it to be, and I just want to enjoy it. So I'm probably going to look for a catback exhaust. That's if the cops around here, you know, stop giving us car enthusiasts such a hard time. So I'm probably going to get a catback exhaust. I'm going to do the coolant mod for it. I'm going to get a better in-dash deck for it. I'm going to get better door speakers. Just an all-around better vehicle to enjoy every day. I love this car a lot. A lot of you said that I was going to sell it within months, and here we are. Here's a year, and I'm still loving this thing. And it's not going anywhere. Like I said, I've always wanted one of these, and here it is. It's here to stay. Mine's in really good shape for the most part. It does have some dings and little dents and scratches. It is a, you know, it's a 15-year-old car plus now. So that being said, I'll probably get some black housing headlights because I love the look of the black housing on the STIs. And that's pretty much it. Just make it better. That's my goal. I'm going to make this one better. Maybe get ceramic coated, maybe get 3M'd, maybe get some little dents repaired, a nice polish, that sort of thing. And just keep it mild, because right now the car is so good the way it is. I don't get harassed by the cops with this thing. And yeah, I only drove the Supra like a handful of times last year because of the tirade that the cops were going on just for having a modified vehicle. It's getting sad nowadays that they're picking on us, and especially for the people who follow the rules, you know, who are respectful to the community, who give back to the community. I do know there's a select few who make it bad for the rest of us, but that's that. So that's pretty much it for the STi. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I certainly have enjoyed the car for the year I've owned it. It's given me zero problems, nothing. Besides the valve cover gasket leak, this thing has been awesome. And no regrets whatsoever. These right now are selling, like I said, for about 25 to 27,000 Canadian dollars landed, and I bought this for about half that. So I'm super stoked. I bought it when I did. When I was gonna buy it, my wife's like, well, why don't we hold off for a little bit? I'm like, hon, these things are gonna skyrocket just like the rest of the JDMs. And here we are today. So that's the video. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. All right? Peace, everybody.